A girl was crossing the street when something strange happened. A passerby walked directly through her body. She froze in shock, unable to process what had just occurred. Before she could react, she noticed a crowd gathering in the middle of the road. Curious, she approached to take a closer look, only to be horrified by what she saw. The deceased was the same person who had just passed through her body. As she stood there in disbelief, she saw a shadowy ghost figure take the soul of the deceased away. Before leaving, the figure shot her a menacing glare, as if warning her not to meddle. The girl was overwhelmed with confusion. Why could she see these supernatural occurrences? It all began a month earlier when she underwent a life-changing surgery. Annie had been blind since the age of 5 due to illness, but 15 years later, a kind-hearted donor offered their corneas, giving her the chance to see again. The surgery was successful, and though her vision was still slightly blurry, Annie was overjoyed. The first thing she did after removing the bandages was run to a mirror to finally see her reflection. At first, everything seemed normal, but one night, while resting in the hospital, Annie noticed a shadowy figure standing by the bed of an elderly woman in the next room. She assumed it was a family member visiting, but then realized it was already 2 a.m., an unusual time for visitors. Annie called out to the figure, but it didn't respond. Summoning her courage, she followed the shadow into the hallway, only to find it moving closer to her. She reached out to touch it, but grasped nothing. From that moment on, Annie's mental state began to deteriorate. After being discharged, she returned home and tried to resume her normal life. Her sister even arranged for her to rejoin the orchestra, where she had played as an independent violinist, despite her blindness. Her colleagues threw a welcome-back party in her honor, but Annie couldn't shake the feeling of unease. Ever since she left the hospital, she felt as though unseen presences were constantly watching her. Her nights were haunted by nightmares, though Annie had no idea that these experiences were tied to her newfound ability to perceive supernatural phenomena. The corneal transplant had restored her vision but also opened a gateway to another world.